System Analyst Interview Questions and Answers 2026. Before you go into an office for an expert interview for a system analyst, you ought to invest a lot of energy in planning for the arrangement. You should be comfortable with the organization, industry, and position, so you will be prepared to answer significant system analyst interview questions and/or unexpected questions. For a business systems analyst position, you can hope to experience requests that straightforwardly identify with your forthcoming position's obligations. You will not have the option to anticipate each inquiry you'll be posed, yet you can anticipate a couple of basic system analyst interview questions from your interviewer or board. At the point when you work on answers to these system analyst interview questions, take a stab at recording your contemplations. This can assist you with getting sorted out and planning what you will say in the interview with the business systems analyst interview questions. In any case, don't retain system analyst interview questions and answers. A recounted passage doesn't show a similar degree of certified interest as a candid reaction. As you accumulate important accounts and sort out your expert selling focuses, it may very well be useful to build up a structure for reacting to business systems analyst interview questions. You should begin with unraveling the motivation behind the request and make a few expansive focuses that ought to be available in each quality answer. This adaptable construction guarantees that even odd or random questions won't stump you during a significant prospective employee meeting. Intermediate system analyst interview questions and answers. 1. Mention the abilities needed to turn into a system analyst. Good acquiring and listening abilities, complex critical thinking capacities, time the executives, troubleshooting, good information on programming applications and systems administration, quality control examination. Critical reasoning 2. Mention what is a DHCP worker. DHCP worker stands for Dynamic Host Arrangement Convention, which is planned as the utilitarian expansion of the Bootstrap Network Protocol. It is a worker or customer convention that naturally provides food. A web convention, IP, has with its IP address and another arrangement as the subnet veil and default door. 3. Mention for what reason to utilize DHCP workers. DHCP workers permitted the whole cycle to be automated and overseen midway. DHCP worker keeps up the IP addresses en masse and doles out a location to any DHCP-empowered customer when he switches on to the organization. The locations are dynamic instead of static, so the tens which are no longer being used are consequently get back to the mass for redistribution. 4. Mention what is subnetting. Subnetting is the strategy of parceling a solitary TCP IP network into various unmistakable organization sections called subnets. 5. Mention what is System Analyst Report. System analysts can record what is going on in current systems and what can be considered typical in systems that have not been fabricated at this point. Archiving is regularly done in a joint effort with specialized journalists, system originators, and system draftsmen. The rundown of things that System Analysts Report incorporates user scenarios, functional exercises, data streams, classes, interfaces between systems. 6. Mention what are the sorts of prerequisites that a system analyst should accumulate and examine. System analysts should accumulate necessities like technical prerequisites. It incorporates the insight concerning what the system is fabricated, including which language it will be modified in, what standards are to be kept up, and so forth. Functional necessities. It incorporates the insight regarding what should be conveyed, which is for the most part perused by computer programmers, project directors, and business analysts. 7. Explain parodied bundle. Satirize bundle is a web convention parcel that is made from a phony IP address, yet acts as a real and verified sender. It is generally willfully ignorant of administration assaults and is utilized to crush the security instrument of the organization and bypass administration, which depend on IP validation. 8. Mention what are some association programming use approaches that system analysts can execute in an association. Disallow the utilization of outer drives for representatives to get to the association's information. Not permitted to download pilfered programming and electronic documents that are protected or unauthenticated. No sharing of classified material, restrictive data, or proprietary innovations outside the association. Not permitting them to hack into unapproved sites or download substances. substances, not permitting them to post or send data that is hostile to the organization or association, prevent downloading of any pernicious programming onto the organization, not permitting workers to make individual perspectives look like addressing those of the association. 9. Mention what does the product review incorporate. Programming review incorporates looking into a representative system for infringement of safety and friends strategy, regular reviews, all things considered, and systems to check whether they are refreshed and smoothed out with all product licenses. Adapting review system that is least trying to workers and their assignment. Apart from normal reviews, random reviews ought to be done to check whether there is any cancellation or expansion of programming to the system. 10. Mention what are the means for record saving for programming. A register ought to be kept up that incorporates the detail of programming, like software's distributor name and title source and date of programming obtaining location of the product establishment, just as the chronic number of the equipment on which duplicate of the product is introduced, location and presence of backup duplicates, serial number of programming items. 11. Mention how to do the enlistment of programming. When an association gets bought programming, the assigned division should get the product first to finish enlistment and stock prerequisite before establishment. On the occasion the product is shrivel-wrapped, the product-getting division should finish the enrollment structures and return it to the product distributor. Software should be enrolled in the name of the association and not an individual client. 12. Mention what the thing that matters is among SSH and SSL. SSL and SSH both are extraordinary encryption and convention advances used to interface two systems. SSH stands for Secure Shell, which normally utilizes port 22 to interface your system to another system by means of the web. It is regularly utilized by network heads as a distant login or controller to deal with their business workers. SSL stands for Secure Sockets Layer. It generally utilizes port 443 to associate your system to a protected system on the internet. It is regularly utilized for communicating data like assessment, banking, MasterCard, and individual data to a business work someplace. 13. How do you adapt to and respond to pressure? In this position, you will work with systems, different programming, and cutoff times. Subsequently, you can hope to experience distressing circumstances. Along these lines, business systems analysts interview questions and answers, frequently invest energy on how you handle pressure. Here, you can make reference to that speaking with collaborators and remaining centered assistance, you adapt well. Moreover, you can give an illustration of a circumstance where you conquered pressure and difficulties. 14. Is it true that you are prepared to make speedy yet dependable choices? As a business analyst, you will exhort organizations with respect to moves that could represent the deciding moment of the business. Despite the fact that you are not liable for an official choice, your expert assessment will convey weight. With these business systems analyst interview questions and answers, the recruiting supervisor is searching for people who can settle on target choices dependent on the customer's government assistance. On the off chance, you have an illustration of an effective and comparable experience from your past experience, talk about it momentarily. 15. What is your biggest undertaking to date? Thoroughly consider your work history and select your most great venture. Relate a short depiction of the outcome and your part all the while. Attempt to pick an occasion that happened inside the most recent 5 years. In the event that you have no work insight to date, talk about the sort of tasks you need to be a piece of. This sort of reaction will exhibit your aspiration and activity, which are especially important in a section-level representative. With business systems analyst interview questions and answers, you should make a point to stay positive and sure consistently. Recruiting directors are attracted to these personas since they do well in the extreme workplace. System Analyst Interview Questions and Answers, 2026. Before you go into an office for an expert interview for a system analyst, you ought to invest a lot of energy in planning for the arrangement. You should be comfortable with the organization, industry, and position, so you will be prepared to answer significant system analyst interview questions and/or unexpected questions. For a business systems analyst position, you can hope to experience requests that straightforwardly identify with your forthcoming position's obligations. You will not have the option to anticipate each inquiry you'll be posed, yet you can anticipate a couple of basic system analyst interview questions from your interviewer or board. At the point when you work on answers to these system analyst interviews.
If you found this video informative and useful, we'll always bring new concepts explained for you, so stay tuned with Sprintzeal, and if you like the video, do share. If have any doubts or queries, do let us know in the comment section. Use the coupon code YouTube10 in our website to get 10% off on all our courses.